Hey gang, Matt here, and one of the great places to get records, besides record stores and online dealers, is the record fair. And today we're gonna hit one of those, and you're coming with me, so let's do it. So the record fair was started back in 2016, and this is the 4th annual this year. Obviously do the math. And this is my 3rd record fair. I missed the first one, unfortunately, but they're having nearly 20 vendors from across the Northeast, and it should be a good time. I always make out pretty well. So let's do this. First time at the record fair?
No.
Yeah, well, how many times you been?
This is my 2nd time.
Nice.
I wasn't here last year.
We did it the first year.
This is my 2nd year.
I understand. We did it the first year. They've been doing it for 4 years.
Okay.
All right.
I only did 2 of them.
How's business been?
Really good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Fantastic. What are a few of the most collectible records you're selling today?
The Hawkwinds.
Yeah?
Yeah, Hawkwind, both of them. I can't remember the spiritual ritual, whatever it was, and I can't remember the name of the other one. But both of them have Lemmy on it.
Of course.
I love that shirt.
Sure.
You know what? I have a crazy.
I'll talk to it later. But
I love that shirt. I just miss Famous Monsters of Filmland so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's great that you saw my videos before.
I love your videos, and I caught you like 3 days ago. I was sitting at home I'm like, oh, what's this guy got to say? And I'm on YouTube, and I like your metal collection and stuff. So I was actually shocked you didn't take my Judas Priest one over there, because it was that's a white label promo of heading out to the highway. I'm like, he didn't take that. Why didn't he take that? But okay. And I like that you were talking about Dio.
Yeah.
Because did you ever listen to Elf, his first band?
I heard them, but I don't have them.
Pick up some Elf. You get to hear the evolvement of Dio. And he started out playing a trumpet. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
He played bass too at one point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And he reminded me of a friend of mine who did all that. He was a tuba player, and he wound up playing. He was an amazing flamenco guitar player, which is what he evolved into.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Wow. Fantastic. Any strange customer stories?
Strange customer story? Not really. Everybody's like, I'd say I'm the strangest thing here.
Got a bunch of records, and we're gonna go back to the house and go look at them. So let's do it. So the record fair went pretty well. This was again the 4th one that they've done in Burlington, and there were 1 or 2 less vendors. Was that a disappointment? Was it not? I don't know so much. The metal guy didn't show up, the one that was there last year. I do mention him in the Record Store Report episode of Burlington Records. I'll include that in the end cards of this episode, so you can click on that and watch that. But that guy was pretty amazing. He had amazing amounts of 80s classic and indie metal. He had Raven, Tygers of Pan Tang, Venom, Old Slayer. He had picture discs, imports. He had a lot of sealed stuff. His prices were pretty good, but it was just hundreds and hundreds of metal records, and a little disappointed he didn't show up. So I probably would have spent more money had he. I only spent $100 this time around. Usually I spend about $300, sometimes $400, depending. If he had been there, of course, I would have just opened my wallet and said, take what you want. But it was pretty decent. The crowd was there for sure. There was a little bit of a line as usual. I was first in line, which is pretty great. And that's about it. Also, everyone loved my shirt, including homeless people on the walk up. One was like, great shirt. And I was like, thanks, homeless guy. I didn't say that actually, but might have thought it. Anyways, let's get to the records I got. The first record I got was the classic Judas Priest Point of Entry album. Sometimes it's not really a fan favorite for some folks. British Steel is loved and Screaming for Vengeance is loved, and this one kind of sticks in the middle. A little more AOR, a little more pop, a little more radio ready kind of an album, so it did get ignored. This is the US cover, by the way. The British cover looks a bit different. I'm also looking for that one, by the way, of course. But great album, great shape for the year, so glad to get this. The next record I got, another Judas Priest album. This one's Stained Class. This is a fan favorite, especially from the 1970s. It does have the song Better By You, Better Than Me on it, the famous Judas Priest suicide duo from the mid-80s. This is the album they were listening to before they killed themselves, purportedly. But regardless of that sort of a story, it is a great album, and I'm glad to finally have it. I'm filling out my 70s Judas Priest collection. I still need Sad Wings of Destiny, and actually Sad Wings of Destiny I think is the only one I still need. So I was glad to pick this one up, and it's in great shape. Can't even complain. Next up is High Voltage, AC/DC's first album. This is the US version, or maybe the non-Australian version, we should say. Totally different track listings on the two. I have a bootleg of the Australian version. In fact, I didn't know it was a bootleg when I bought it. Then I got home, and it's like colored vinyl, and then there's a website listed on it. And I'm like, I got bamboozled. So I had to have the original. Love the tracks on this album. TNT is amazing. Every song on here is really great. So finally glad to get this on vinyl. And again, like Judas Priest, I'm filling out my 70s AC/DC collection. Probably have a couple more albums to get, but was glad to get this one. I do occasionally buy 12-inch singles, especially from big bands like this one. The Women in Uniform single, great song. It wasn't on any of their LPs, so it was exclusive at the time to this CD or this single. Great one, Drifters on it, Phantom of the Opera Live's on it. This is a European import, and really excited to have this. I am going after the other Maiden singles from the 80s as well, but I really was excited to find this one. $15 in near mint condition, which is pretty good. You could pay a lot more for that. In fact, a lot of the records I got, you can get on Discogs and other places, but you'll pay the postage too. And so I saved on postage, and I saved a few dollars here and there on the actual purchase price too. So another great thing about record fairs is that no postage, and you know the record you're getting too. So that's great, and also better than record store prices a lot of times. You'll find that out. And you can always barter too with a lot of record store or record fair guys. So you should definitely do that. So really excited to have this one. Definitely. Next up is Virgin Killer from the Scorpions. This is the US cover. I think some folks know about that European cover. If you haven't seen it, you can Google it. You'll know you got the right one when you see the prepubescent naked girl on the front, and why US distributors didn't want that cover very much. A lot of people had an issue with it. But you know, Scorpions have some weird album covers, especially from the 70s. This is probably the tamest cover they had in that era. It's a great era of the Scorpions. Uli John Roth is in the band. He's an amazing guitar player. Anything he's on is just God. Amazing guy. Go Google him, find him on YouTube, listen to anything he's done. Great stuff. So I was really excited to find this album. It's in good shape too, so I really lucked out, as I did today in general. So there it is. Next up is a band that you probably have to be a real big metal guy to remember. This is Tokyo Blade. The album is Night of the Blade. Great stuff. I've been looking for this album for quite a while, let alone in this amazing condition. Again, I didn't pay much for a lot of these records. I would say the average price I paid is probably between $10 and $15, with the low end being as low as $4. I paid $4 for a few of these records, and again, they're in very good plus to near mint shape. So pretty amazing, and pretty excited to have this. Great band. If you don't know Tokyo Blade, you should look into them. Definitely. This record I didn't even know existed. I know the band very well. This is Tygers of Pan Tang, by the way. And I did an episode of the Vinyl Reacquisition Project, a segment of an episode, rather, on Tygers of Pan Tang, namely their Wildcat album, their first album. This is a compilation of their first 4 or 5 albums, and it's going to be a great way, I haven't put it on yet, but it's going to be a great way to hear how they evolved, because I know they changed a little bit as they went. I was much more into them when they were more of a new wave of British heavy metal sounding band, again on Wildcat and later on Spellbound. But the other stuff's on here too, so it's going to be nice to hear that. And it's in great shape. Again, never knew this existed. I don't know if it's really a promo copy. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'll check into that later. If you know, let me know in the comments. Yeah, that's it for this one. So you're probably asking yourselves, hey Matt, you're a big Kiss fan. Why do you have a copy of Destroyer in your hands when you probably bought this years and years and years ago? And I did buy it years and years ago. I bought the later 70s reissue of it on the Casablanca Filmworks label. That would have been probably from 77 on, they did the label, and then they went and back released all the catalog with that label as well. But this isn't a Filmworks version. This is an original Casablanca with the blue label. And very excited to have that. In fact, there it is. And if you know about blue label records from Casablanca, you know they're worth a little bit more. And great thing, paid $8 for this. And it's in great shape. I mean, there's a little bit of ring wear on the cover, but the record is in pristine shape. So I really really got away with something. And I'm always happy to feel that way when I go anywhere and get records. So major score for me, definitely. This last record is kind of funny because I talk about it in my last Q&A. Michael Anthony had asked me about songs that I'd heard and never heard again. And I did a little bit of a slant on that in the Q&A regarding a song I'd heard in the 1982 movie Night Shift. And I was kind of obsessed with the song in the 80s. It was a hard rock song. I really dug it. And I've been joking a lot with my friends about it after that episode about when it'd be funny to find that album, somewhere. Like today, for instance. So I found the Riggs album. It is a promo copy. You can see the promo writing right there. But kind of excited to find it. $8. It's in near mint shape, except for some of the... there's a little bit of ring wear and there's a little bit of staining, but it's in great shape. The disc itself is in great shape. So it was a weird find. I literally had to double back in the stack and go, am I looking at what I'm looking at? Did I find the Riggs album? So I invite you, by the way, to watch that Q&A. I will put it in the end cards in this episode, along with the episode of the Record Store Report. Watch both. It'll fill in the gaps of some of the in-jokes that I'm alluding to. So yeah, Riggs. Go figure. So have you been to a record fair in your town or somewhere else? Let me know in the comments. Let me know about the venue, the vendors, the people, the crowds, the records you got. Definitely would like to know about that. Also, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. And also, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this channel. Love subscriptions. They are the reason I live. Anyways, that's it for now. Take care and ever forward.